Hello, guys. Welcome back. My name is Timmy Trent. I'm your link to the fire within and to God. All right, guys. I gotta say you one thing, okay? Um, you got the power. You can change anything in your life at any time if you want to. Now, if you've been to this, you've been born to this universe, and you've been learned into the system that we all been learning to, right? But once you learn, it's like you in the river. It's like everybody's swimming, right? And once you learn some information, you gotta know how to distinguish with your intelligence to interpret in a way where it's gonna help your community, help yourself, all kind of stuff like that, right? But if you don't, you are learning from with each other within that little pot, right? And they're gonna teach you. They're all in a survival mode, right? Because they gotta get something out of you from you, right? Now when they say that's not a bad thing because we all helping each other, and we can share stuff from each other, right? But we cannot. But we gotta obey what God, principle. That way we can live together. Or if we live like animal, or we can steal each other, which is if we live in a system that a lot of rich people have been stealing from the poor people, and that's why a lot of us working so much, and it's hard for us to obtain what the rich obtain, is because the system was built to extract from our energy. We work, most of the time, all of us work on most of our life, and we can't save our money somewhere. Is because the only way we can save money somewhere is that we put in the bank, or in any kind of stock market, sort of way, and make them richer, right? Because and we got leadership that if we do anything with our money, they punish us because they don't want us to be into the same level. They don't want us to keep our money, our energy that we put out, because there's no way, because the system was created, that we put our energy out, we get that money and we put it into the system. We trying to grow that money. They punish us, right? Because they don't want us to climb into that system, and that's not what God intended for them to steal from us. And that's the same thing like in the back old day where Jesus came back. The people were so poor, and Jesus want to help the people go back to God, right? People were so poor that they got away from God. They could do all these sinful things, and Jesus come back. The same thing with Moses Day as well. Moses, want to free the people, right? Moses, where the people were suffering, so God have him want to save the people. The same thing that we go into, throughout all those time and to now again. The people are suffering very much, right? This thing is so expensive. It's hard for us to buy anything. Like, it's hard for me to buy anything because what? I work all my life, and I still can not enjoy my life as I should be, right? I mean, I don't want to obtain all that. I'm really content with happy, but I want to help build a better future for my kid, right? For your kid, right? For all these kids that was born into this world, after us, right? And we at the generation, we want to make it better, even though we might not able to enjoy the fruit because we've been, our energy been stealing for a long time that we didn't even know it, right? We live in a system because we don't know, right? Because sometimes you when you're in a situation, you can't see that you're in a situation, right? Until you're willing to step out and learn outside the system, and you can see what's happening, right? And a lot of time, if you believe in God let you see. But a lot of people that believe in God, they live in the same system. So it's hard for them to really have conviction to God, right? They say they believe in God, but yet their family and everything like that, doing all these things, blending with the non-believer, right? They allow the kid to do all these things like the non-believer do. Now, how can you say you believe in God and your family, blending with the non-believer, and you're supposed to help the non-believer, but then you allow your kid to be to do what the thing that the non-believer do, right? So you got to learn, and that way you can help build the next generation, according to what God want you to, right? So if you don't, what happened? You fall into struggling, suffering. You know what I'm saying? So it's like And that's how it works, right? And we live in a system where the non-God believer has benefited from us so long. So God's going to change everything, right? The same thing as, all those, in the past where if you read the Bible, there's come to a point where God said, you know what, enough. I give you prosper, but you're not doing nothing now. So now that I'm going to have to do something about it, I'm going to make you, something happen in the world, collapse your system, right? That because when the people suffer enough and God see it, and He's going to make things happen, right? And once He make things happen, there's going to be rebuild thing, right? Rebuild thing, and those people pay attention and able to capitalize on that and help build a better system, right? So, guys, it doesn't matter what position in life at this moment. It doesn't matter you run a country, being a leader, you need to pay attention and you need to change toward God. If you don't, you're gonna fall. And it's nothing new. This has happened for thousands of years for empire, kingdom, army, country, nation. All right. But a new system is coming in place, and God, and it's gonna, benefit the people. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to try to explain to a whole bunch of people in addiction to living a life that they live in, working, busy, all kind of stuff with that, and they don't want. It's hard for them to find time to learn something new, right? But you got to find time to learn. There's so much information for you to learn, but you got to learn. If you don't learn, then you do a disservice to your family, your kids, and all kind of stuff like that. And you guys gonna be suffer, and you'll see everybody else prosper, and you're gonna suffer, right? So you gotta pay attention, and you want to change. And the best thing right now to change is that just to go back to God, right? Believe in God, believe in Jesus Christ, and create, build, prosper, and multiply. And follow God's principle, the Ten Commandments. That's the most important thing, right? The Ten Commandments. And you got to repent. You got to stop, right? There's a lot of people they say they believe in God, but they don't repent. They silent. You cannot be silent, right? In this world, you cannot be silent. Silent that get a lot of people killed because evil. When they serve, they can make crime. They can hurt other people. And when you have a system where, was set up and the people in charge, not uphold the law, right? Their law breaking down, right? Their law breaking down, and the people act like, animal. They can commit crime, all kind of stuff like that. And the law system is not upholding, their law. So what happened? It's gonna be, it's gonna be decayed, right? Now, they were trying to, and these people that hold, hold leadership power, and they want to hold power. What happened? They blame they blame the criminal, or they blame the people that silent, right? So that way they can hold power more, but they don't realize that's their downfall, right? That's their downfall, right? They think that they hold power. They don't learn from the past. They don't learn from even Hitler, or even Mongolia, even all these leadership down in the past, they all failed, right? So they don't learn that lesson. They think they can hold their power by pinch people against each other. It's not going to happen because God won't let it happen, right? God will expose everything, right? So for individual, for everybody else, you got to take action. You know what I'm saying? You got to take action in your life. You want to change your life? You got to follow God, Jesus Christ, follow the Ten Commandments. You change your life, and your community will change too. Your life will change, your community will change, everybody around you will change, and you will change the world. All right, guys? All right, guys, have a good day. Bye-bye.